is your time. This is your time to hide your camera. So recording is on. Hello, Vern. Hello, everybody. Hello, David. I haven't seen you in ages and ages. Marianne, yay. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about that for right now, and I just want to welcome you all to the session today about designing things in Microsoft Word. And as soon as I start talking to people about these kinds of things with Word, they'll either love it or hate it. They'll like, oh yeah, I use Word all the time, it's great. Or they'll go, oh, I hate Word and that. So what are the problem areas kind of thing? I don't mean to be negative Nelly here, but what are some of the things that people struggle with? And I want to help them. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So my website is there, knowitsooner.com. And I'm going to show you a couple cool things on there in a little while as well. Here are the topics that I want to cover today. Like I said before, that columns and tables might not get a big chance to go through those things, but the really key thing here is for you at the end of this to understand that ruler at the top of your Microsoft Word screen, and it's not even on as a default. So you might not even know that it exists, and you're like, well, how am I supposed to set these things up if I can't even see my ruler? So those are some of the things that we're going to go through. So if I do have my chat window open on the other side here. So the format, many of you have been through to my sessions before. Thank you. And I've got some files that are on my website. If you want to go to my website and download them, you can. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to shoot them into the chat. So I'm going to go into the chat. And these are the two, I believe. And then that way you guys can go. Hang on a minute. Just I'm gonna have a second. I want to be able to go in and look at documents. This is the one. This is the one. Is it good? It's good. Yeah. Okay. So there's two documents that I want to show you. Now, the first one is called Superb Coffee, Icky Page Breaks and Tabs. Now, it's a bad one. I just put it into the chat. Yeah, it's not letting me because I am in it. So I will try it again. Okay. You don't have to really work with this one because it's icky. I just want to show you why it's so icky. Okay. Icky is a very technical term, by the way. And then the good one is this one called Superb Coffee. Okay. So I've sent them both there and you should have got them. Have you guys got them? Got them. The icky one is giving me a hard time because I have it in use, but it's this one here that you want anyway. So basically they're the same document. The one that we're going to work with is the one called Superb Coffee, just Superb Coffee. And I think that it went through okay. All right, so Superb Coffee is the one that we want to work with. The other one is bad, bad, bad. So it looks good. I've got that one open right now. It looks pretty good, right? Looks nice, looks lovely, right? Come on, looks pretty good. Oh, I love where the pages are breaking. Ugh, I kind of don't like where this, I wish it was drag over a little bit to the left. Oh, nice little table. Oh, I like this. Yeah, I want to move those ones. Oh, I love how this is lined up. Okay, now what happens sometimes with this is that when you go to make some changes, okay, when you go to make some changes, like let's say, see how there's a big blank space there? Well, that's okay because I wanted this stuff to go here. I wanted it to go on the second page. So I'm going to scroll up. What happens if I decide, you know what, these two paragraphs, I don't want them. I'm going to delete them. Maybe one more. What's happening down below here? Ugh. Tell me if that ever happens to you guys. Tell me in the chat if that ever happens to you guys. And you guys that have been through my courses before, I'm watching you. I'm hoping not, but all the time, Janet. Yes, yes. So bear with me a little bit. I'm going to show you how to fix that. What else is happening? Oh, yuck. Look at that. There's another big space, right? So that's an issue with page breaks. So it's not really an issue with page breaks. It's an issue that's whoever created this document didn't put in a page break. What do you think that they did instead if they wanted to shove something to the next page? And Janet will put you on the spot since you admitted that. How do you get something? How do you shove it down to the next page? You press
enter, 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 enter,
yeah.
enter.
You're a professional enter pusher, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just getting someone. I need to have someone come with me here. Okay. I want to show you a button on your ruler. Be on your home. Be on your home and go to this little button right here. It says show hide. How many of you have done that? How many of you have clicked on that button? That will tell you what has been typed in. So Janet was exactly right. These are all enters. These are all enters. Okay, so we're going to delete those enters. Just going to leave one. And what should go there instead? If I want to push that down to the next page instead of enter, 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 we know that doesn't work well. What should go there instead? Vern, come on, you know. Who knows? There's a keystroke. Enter, no, that goes one at a time. Control, enter. Control, enter. That puts a page break in. Okay, that puts a page break in. Good, Marianne, yay. Control, enter. So that, I want everybody that wasn't sure about this, all of you people who said, I use enter, enter, enter. I want you to go back and try some of your documents, clicking on this button to see what's in there, clean it up, right? Delete all the extra enters. I can even delete this enter. You click in front of it, hit delete. It is there now. It doesn't matter what happens up here. It doesn't matter if I go and I make this size 48. Is it going to push it down onto the next page? Nothing. So we're 8 minutes in. Who's learned something? Maybe. Okay. So control enter is good for page breaks. Now, are you worried about these little weird codes printing? They're not going to print. They're called non-printing characters. Yay, non-printing characters. They're not going to print. Okay. So that's your page break. Now, what could have been done down here? Ugh, we've got a little bit more work down here. So I'm going to select all those enters except one. Oh, Adelaide, I want her to go to the next page. So what can I do? Control enter. Okay, control enter. Good. All right. So there's actually a really cool thing too, and I wasn't going to show you guys this, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, that there's a command that if you put it on there to the selected paragraph, so you know what? I do the whole document, Control A, get the whole document. See where it says paragraph here? So I'm in my home tab, I'm in paragraph. If I click on this little guy here, paragraph settings, and if you need me to go back and click on something again, please, I don't mind doing that. Like here's where was that? It's some people have me on one screen and the Zoom on and the Word document on the other screen. And I know that there's some people that just came in. Welcome. Yay, Cherry, you made it. Yay. We can put this document back in the chat if you want to kind of play along. But up top here in the paragraph, it says line and page breaks. There's something that says keep lines together. Keep lines together. Okay. Don't touch anything else here. Keep lines together. You want to be sure that's on. If you keep clicking, it turns off and then it's like, make sure there's a check mark there. Keep lines together. You know what I've done? I've set it as default. Don't do that until you really understand what this does. And I want you to watch Adelaide Marks. Keep lines together. Okay. What? How did it go down there? Because this is a paragraph and it's telling us, or we've told it, to keep the lines within the paragraph together. Who loves that?
Yeah.
Who loves that? right? So if you go up top here and you do a change to it, I don't know, we're gonna go here and we're gonna say this is great and enter, 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 whatever. Look at, oh, this one didn't work because there's extra enters. And remember, this is a messed up one, right? So we'll do this again in the good one. But yeah, what it's doing is it's putting the paragraphs together. So the way that I did this icky one is I hit enter at the end. So that's what it's doing. Let's do the opposite. Let's get rid of some stuff. Let's get rid of this whole our commitment thing. Let's move it up instead. You can see that Adelaide fits, Douglas doesn't. Let's delete some more stuff up here. Let's say that we would just want to delete all this stuff. Okay. Adelaide and Douglas fit. Yay. William Bradley does not. Right? It's fantastic. So paragraph, line and page breaks, keep lines together. You want to do that probably for your whole document so that your paragraphs don't flip to the next page. Loving that one. Okay. Good. So you know how to do page breaks now, manual page breaks, right? I don't care. I don't want any of that, right? I need to have this on the next page. Control Enter. Good. Okay. The other issue with this, I'm going to turn that thingy off for a minute. Do you guys, for those of you that just started with us today, and you know what, I'm going to use this as a chance to show you a little bit about my website because I know there's a lot of people on now. KnowItSooner.com. Okay. If you go to downloads, here's our Friday webinars, downloads, and then you've got Word, Excel, and so on. Of course, today we're on Word downloads. This is where I got this document from. So this is where we can grab them from. The two documents that we're working with today, right now, I'm in Superb Coffee Icky Page Breaks, but to practice, go into Superb Coffee. Now, don't just click on it because that'll take you into the web version of it. You're on the internet now. It's not gonna be the same as the Word one. So it's the Word version. So what you have to do is go Superb Coffee, click on the little thing on the side, download it. And then it goes into your downloads folder. It's telling us up here, it's going into the downloads folder. So you can open it from there and it'll open in Word. Okay, I'm just gonna click on the folder so that it opens up and I'll throw it in the chat. Open up, where are you? Open up. Okay, or you can just grab it from there probably too. Okay, Superb Coffee 27 it says, because I've opened this up 27 times. Okay, so in my classes, we use these documents. We don't get people to type and type and type and type and type. We give them the documents and then we play around with it and mess around with it. Okay. And of course, the reason that this is a free class today is because I would love to be invited to come to your office virtually or in person to do these sessions. So I'm trying to give you a little bit of an idea about what one of those training sessions might be like. Okay, what else do we got going on here? So that I'm still in the icky one. Table works great. Tables are great. Oh, this looks good. Hey, John Smith, 50. Oh, but you know what? I decided I don't want to have this here. I don't want this. So I'm just going to delete that. And oh, how come there's space there? Ooh, I don't want that space there. So I'm deleting. Oh, ugh. Tell me if this has happened to you guys. Why is that over there? It should be over. Oh, I don't know how to shove it over there. Maybe tab? Oh yeah, tab works great. Right? Do you get what I'm working on now? This one. Oh, now what's going on here? Ah! It's kind of icky. I'm going to turn this on again. And this is what's happening. Some of the paragraphs, some of the lines have a paragraph marker and enter after it. Okay, some of them don't. The ones that I've deleted do. We couldn't even tell what we were deleting because that thing wasn't even turned on. Look at this mess. Bill Williams. What are these, do you think? What do you think those are? Those are spaces. Those are spaces. So if I'm typing here, since January 1996, maybe I go here and say, and he joined the board. Uh-oh. Oh no. What am I going to do? Yuck. So this is where people are going over here and they're just hitting that space bar just like we used to on, oh, now it's not even working, right? It's just going, the spaces are going to the right-hand side and we're like, ah, I hate Word. No, 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 no. Okay. I left a couple of those lines nice because once we get to know the ruler, we're going to be able to do all of that beautifully. So these are spaces. These are tabs. So tabs at least a little nicer than spaces, and these are enters. You guys, who remembers WordPerfect? Anybody remember WordPerfect? Yeah, it used to have codes and you used to go in there and like remove the codes or get in front of the code or something like that. This is kind of like that, but we use kind of in conjunction with the ruler. So I'm going to introduce the ruler to you. Okay. Okay, one last one before we do that. I probably will flip over to that other good document. What about this one? Looks good at the very end. John Smith, 50 years old. Bill Williams. Okay, actually, he doesn't like to go by Bill. Here's a little tip. Double click on a word, selects the word. Don't even hit delete or anything. I'm just going to type. Let's call him William. William. Uh-oh. What happened to the 61? Why did it move? I would really love it if it didn't move. Wouldn't that be a great day if you went in front of something and typed? Who thinks that would be a great day? I think that would be a great day. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to see what the problem is. Oh, we've got too many tabs. So somebody's pressed tab a bunch of times. Thank you that it's not spaces. Tabs are better than spaces, but one tab on the line is better than a whole bunch of them like this. Okay. Now, here's some homework. Donna, you still use WordPerfect? Oh my goodness. I'm going to go up to view and I'm going to go ruler, view ruler. Now this is the command that is not on as a default. If it's checked, don't touch it, right? This is not on as a ruler. You should see a ruler on the top and you should actually see a ruler on the left-hand side as well. That's not on as a default. So we need to understand what happens when we press tab, what happens when we are using our indents and things like that. Now, if you turn that on, mine's on inches. I like the inches measurements rather than centimeters. So for some of us that are in Canada, it's probably listing centimeters. If you don't like the centimeters, you can go file options and in advanced, so file options advanced, about halfway down, you can switch it between centimeters and inches if you want. It's up to you. It's up to you. I've got mine on inches. Okay, so here's what happens when you press tab. Okay, I'm going to go after William Bradley 60. I'm going to press enter and I'm just going to put my name in. Now my name is a different length than some of the other ones, right? John Smith is tiny, so he doesn't require as many tabs. Now actually that's not that great. Oh, it is actually that pretty good. So here, I'm just going to use my annotate tool for a second. I want us to look at our ruler at every half an inch. That's where your tab goes as a default. Now, if you're on centimeters, it still goes every half an inch. You just kind of have to eyeball them. It's every so many centimeters. So if you look up here, John Smith, when I hit tab, it went up to this 1 inch mark. When I went William Williams, oh, it can't go backwards to the 1 inch, right? It can't go backwards. So it goes to the 1.5. And so does Adelaide and everybody, right? Everybody is just going to the 1.5. And then when I hit it a second time, it goes to the 2 inch, and a third time it goes to 2.5 and 3 and 3.5 and so on. That's why when we were here on this guy, when initially Bill Williams probably went to the 1 inch, but then when I made his name longer, then it's like I can't go backwards to 1 inch. I need to go to the 1.5, which is why everything went over here, right? I shouldn't say everything, just that one line went over, right? So What a mess. Clear all my drawings. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? Okay. But some people are pretty darn fast at hitting that tab though, right? But what I'm going to be showing you in the other document is how to set up one tab. Now here's the other issue with this is how does it line up? So I want, let's say, I know these are ages, but just for fun, I'm going to put in 3 digits, 100. How do you normally want your numbers to line up? You think usually you want them on the right-hand side. So this is where the space bar I see coming in and people are like eyeballing it and they're hitting it, right? And you know what? You might spend a lot of time doing that. I need to get rid of that tab and then space. Ugh, please don't do this. And for sometimes people come in late in the class and then they see me doing this and like, oh, cool, I was doing it right. No, you're not doing it right. The problem with this is then when you print it or print preview, they don't actually line up properly. Has anybody had that? This doesn't look too bad, but I've had it like it still doesn't look right. So what you want to do is you want to set up one and then you want it to be just stay there no matter what. And the same kind of thing goes if it's not 6, it's 60, it's 6. Uh-oh, now I got to go in and hit another space. Uh-oh, another one? Yeah, see, this is what I mean. I bet you that 9 and that 6 and that 0 don't line up. So those are the issues. This is the bad document. Stay away from those kinds of things. I am going to leave it open. So I'm going to bring up the other one. So do we have anybody new come that I need to put that back in the chat? Because I don't think it's one thing about Zoom is that if I put something in the chat and then people join after, I don't think that they can see the chat. So I'm going to go into the Superb Coffee one. Doesn't matter if it says 26 or whatever. I'm going to turn these things on. I'm going to see what's going on with it. So first of all, I'm not going to do the page breaks. I think we did well. Yeah, I'll go and do the page break. Control Enter. Good. Looks good. We could do that thing we did before with that, but what I would rather do is I'm going to move all these guys to the new page. So click in front of John Smith. I'm going to go Control Enter, and then they're all on the same page. Okay, let's do the tabs first. Notice on this document, the Superb Coffee, not the messed up one, but this one. Notice on this one how we've got one tab only. Okay, and then again, if you missed this, it's this button up here. That is going to be a great button. It won't print. So some people maybe have never worked with it before. And then we've only got one tab in between. Some tabs, it looks like they're kind of big. Well, they're just saying, I have this much space to go to that 1.5, what's that one going to? The 1.5 inch, whatever. Don't worry about little tabs and big tabs. It's just kind of, hey, I have enough space. Remember, it's about those 1/2 inch marks at the top. So I'm going to select all these guys and I'm going to set a tab. There are 5 different types of tabs. The first one is a left tab. So do you see way over here on my screen, way the heck over on the left-hand side, almost as far as you can go, there's an L. It stands for left tab. So this is like if I don't even click on that, and I know some of you have clicked on it, so keep clicking on it until you hit the L again. You'll cycle through all of the options. Just glance at it. If it's an L, then you're going to take just what you have selected and set a tab for, I'm just going to go somewhere weird, like 3.5 inches. And and it's picky. I have to really watch here. So you see about in the middle of my screen where I am right now, right in the middle of that, and kind of on that bar, that gray bar underneath all the numbers and things, I'm going to click on that. I've just set a left tab. Okay, I can then click on that left tab and I can say, actually, can you guys come over here a little bit? And I'm going to challenge you, the people who are tabbers or spacers, how easily it would be to change your mind about where those numbers are located. Okay, is that a beautiful thing? That's a pretty beautiful thing. Now, if you kind of fall off either up or down, that's how you get rid of a tab on your ruler. So see how it look right around that 5 inch mark on mine? See how it's It's just kind of there right now because I'm like left and right. But if I fall off or if I go up too high into the white, like it's really picky, then that's how you get rid of it. Okay. So if I leave it there at maybe this, it's okay. But let's say that it's 160. I don't really like that. Sometimes I go up and just turn this thing off for a minute. I don't really like that. Okay. I want it right aligned. So I'm going to select those again. And selecting is so important because you don't want this to be on any other paragraph in your document, just this one little tiny list. Okay. So I'm going to drag that left tab out. It doesn't work for me anymore. And now it's going back to the every half an inch. It just goes to the next half inch mark it's closest to. I'm going to go here. I'm going to grab a center tab. Now center tab is kind of hard for me to show you what it does, but I'm going to go to the 5.5 inch mark, let's say. And to be able to tell you show you what it is, I'm just going to add a few zeros to one of the things and turn this off for a minute. So you see how all of the things in that sort of column are centered, right? The first four things are 2 digits, so it doesn't really, they're left and they're centered and they're right. They're all the same. But as I start adding numbers, it's centered. So I don't know if I really like that about numbers. Like Vern said, I use the right tab, or you know what I actually do is I use the decimal tab, which is even a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that one. This person's really old, this one. So I'm gonna turn this thing back on so I can tell what's going on with it. I think I still want it to be on the right, so I'm gonna get rid of the center tab. Okay, and then the third one is the one that might be okay. I'm going to go right tab and I go way over to the right hand side for this one. 6 inch mark maybe. Hey, this is looking good. This is looking good. Let's turn that off for a minute. All right, it's looking pretty good. But what if it was 59.9? 59.9. Ooh, I don't know if right align is good. I would look at that and I would think it was 599. So right tab is the closest one so far that we like. But there's even a better one when it comes to numbers, and that is the decimal align. Okay. Now in these classes, you guys, you may or may not be working at the same time as me. Sometimes people have 2 monitors and they're like, and they can multitask and everything. They can, they can do all that. If you want to just be flipping back and forth, that's fine too, or you just want to try it again on your own, that's fine too. Last one is the decimal tab. And you're like, well, how am I going to know what all these are? If you rest your mouse way over on the left-hand side without clicking or anything, just rest your mouse, it'll tell you which one it is. So right now, if it said right tab, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about decimal tabs. You just click on it. Decimal tab, don't drag it or anything like that. You're just going to go over and plunk it on the ruler. Click on the 6 inch mark. And this might be a little bit better than the right tab. If you just are working with all whole numbers, maybe you don't, maybe you don't care. But if it's decimal, then that's good. Now I want to show you one extra thing about that. Does anybody have any questions about that? Give you a chance to try that out, maybe? Liking that? Okay. I don't know if we've had new people, but I'll dump a new one in the chat. Superb Coffee. If anyone wants to play along and you don't have it in front of you. Okay, we're at the very end of the document. Okay, so decimal tab works great. I really don't like it there. I want to show you in a table. Okay, let's say in a table. So sometimes people create tables for their stuff. And, it lines up a little bit easier, but then you've got borders to work with. And granted, you could turn off your borders quickly. But this down here, it's kind of overkill for a table. I don't know. You could put a table around it. You could even flip that into a table right now, your tabbed list. But let's say that you already had a table. I'm going to go here. See, these things are new showing up too, right? Like this is like the end of your table. And that's where I want my new column. I'm going to create a new column with some of those same numbers. So I'm just going to click on the top of it there. I'm going to go insert to the right. And then I'm just going to put some numbers in there. So I'm going to put like 40. Oops, I don't want to do it that. I want to go down. 500, 1003, 14, whatever. Okay. How can I get those numbers? Kind of like what I was just talking about. And I don't mean to have this as a table exercise, but I do want to show you how tabs on your ruler work with this. So how can I get those lined up? Oh, let's do one that's 3.5. Let's do some decimals in there. Okay. So some people, how would you do that? You could like select them all, maybe not my top one. Select them all, maybe go right a line. Oof, that goes way over. Maybe not that one. Can I set a tab? Well, I didn't hit the tab character. You know what? If you have that decimal tab, I just looked, I didn't click. If you clicked, click, 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 click to get it back. I'm going to go up to the top here, eyeball it, click. Look at that. You didn't have to have the arrow in front of it. That's how a decimal tab works inside of a table. Of course, if you're doing too much of this, then you might want to use Excel because Excel is great. Yay. But this works great. So now you have 45.00. Look at how that just stays there. 500, maybe 0.25, right? This 0.00. So I didn't even have to set a tab. I mean, I didn't have to hit the tab character, right? Do you notice that? There's no tab in front of that. These guys at the bottom, there's tabs, right? That's how it knows to separate Smith and 50. And we'll get more into that. So all that was selecting the cells. I'll take that out for a second, click and drag it out, and going, making sure the decimal tab is chosen. Maybe it's still there from last time, and just plunking it there. And then you can plunk it wherever you want. So this is kind of a table and a tab lesson, isn't it? Isn't that cool? You're kind of centering and decimal aligning at the same time, aren't you? Questions about that? Is that useful? Is that cool? Okay. All right. So any questions with tabs? One more thing about tabs. Good. What if you want lines? What if you want lines there? Like dots, I mean, not lines. Like I never type a table of contents, but because I can generate it, shameless plug here. We have a session on that. Hi, Rose, to come and do your session. Or I have a lot of online webinars, recorded ones too, that go over all of this stuff. Dots, John Smith, dot, 50. So in a table of contents, you'll see dots a lot, and just helps the reader to go across, doesn't it? So here's what you do. You select them all. Now, you have to have at least one custom tab. So we have one custom tab, our decimal tab, because of course you could have them for a number of different things, right? I'm going to go to that decimal tab spot at the top, and I'm going to double click right on the tab. And this takes us into our tabs. And it's listing us our custom tabs. Now, if you get to this point, you don't have anything nothing showing here. I have 6-inch tab. Yeah, does that make sense? Yes, for the things that I have selected, it has a 6-inch decimal tab. Okay. So I click on it. It's the only one. I didn't really have to do that, but if you had 2 or 3 of them, you could do that. What kind of dot leader do I want? This one is number 2 is probably the most common. That's the dots. Number 3 is the dashes. Number 4 are the lines. And if I have time, I'll show you how to do a signature line with that. But we'll go number 2. Because there's only one tab, we can just go okay. And there's your dots. So I'm going to go to the end of this. Enter. Enter always, usually, not always, usually about 95% of the time, enter will create a new line based on the line you were on. So I'm going to put my name on again. It's going to be lazy here, Joanne. Tab. Look at that. Oh, beauty. Beauty. It goes all the way over. It's lining itself up with that 6-inch tab. 2.5, whatever. Oh, it's using the decimal tab as the decimal spot. Even if you didn't type a decimal, it still knows that that's where it is. You guys, this works for dates too. No, sorry, times. times. It works for times. Let's say you're doing an itinerary where you're going to do an introduction. Intro is at 9 a.m. Okay. Enter. Coffee break is at 10 a.m. Do you see what it's doing? What is it using as its decimal? It's using the colon. So it's not, it looks like it's right aligned. Let me do one more. Let's do lunch. Let's say lunch is not until 1 o'clock because I want a little tiny one. 1 p.m. See what it's doing? It's using the colon. It looks like it's right aligned, but it's using the colon. So some people really like the decimal one for that as well. Okay, good. All right. So if you had another one to do, I want to put in here, maybe on the right-hand side of this, I'm going to move this over. And then you can go and put another one on the right-hand side. Maybe you want to say, I don't know, this is how much money they owe and if it's paid or not. So you select them all. Gee, what kind do I want? You can keep clicking. There's all these other ones. We're going to get into those other ones in a minute, but I don't actually access them this way. Maybe I want to say if they're paid or not. So I'm going to use my left tab and I'm just going to go kind of eyeball it a little bit. Click on my 5.5 inch. Okay. Doesn't really do anything. I'm going to click after the 50, press tab, takes me to that exact spot. Paid, go down to the 61, tab, not paid, right? So you're only going to have a problem with the left tab if you type so much. So Adelaide says she will pay next week. Uh-oh, that's not good. Well, it's not good she's not paying, but it's also not good that it wrapped. So this is when I might use a right tab. Or you know what? At this point, I probably would have created a table by now. How many of you would have created a table by now? Because if there's too much going on, you want it to wrap under that. I'm probably putting too much into this. I always do that. Anyway, that doesn't look that great. So I'm going to go and get a right tab. And the right tab is, again, way over to the right-hand side. There we go. So now it pushes everything over to the left. So William Bradley, 160,000, need some commas in there. It goes way over to the right. Oh, I think I missed Douglas. Douglas will pay ASAP. See what's happening? It's like I have the space to the left. And I want us to all think about that using this this kind of a method, that right tab, because it often, let's go back up here for a minute. Our commitments, this is on page 2, our commitment doesn't have any tabs on there. If I want to say our commitment for 2023, tab for 2023, how can I shoot that way over to the right? Select it. My right tab is still chosen. Click on, I don't know, 6. I usually go to the little tick mark right before that right indent. There we go. For 2023. Oh, actually, let's say that it's for 2023 and 2024. Oh my gosh, it's shooting it to the left. So I would love for you to practice with that. You can use this document if you want, right? Rather than tab, 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 eyeballing it to see, is this enough room? Nope, it's not. So then you have to work with the tabs, right? Oops, still not. And then you change your mind and it all goes all wacky again. So, all right. Any questions with tabs? How do you remove a tab? Then you select the paragraphs that you want to remove it from, even if it's not really in use. Like this bottom half of my list I haven't even used that right tab. Doesn't matter. You still got that on there. You take your right tab and you drag it straight down, if that's the one that you wanted to remove. If you go back to work this afternoon and find that you have a whole bunch of icky tabs, because Donna, WordPerfect documents look like this: left, 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 every half an inch is a left tab. Okay. This is what a WordPerfect document would look like. It will interfere with what you're trying to do. So you can either double click on one of them and say clear all. This brings up our tab box, right? Clear all. Or I'm going to give you a keystroke. Here's a good one. Ready to write? Select your paragraph. Sometimes people do this to their whole document just to get rid of all paragraph formatting. What is paragraph formatting? Bullets, numbers, left, center, indenting, tabs, borders, shading. Ever tried to get rid of a border and you just couldn't get rid of it? This is a good command for you. Control Q. And notice before I do that, it says that this is a normal style. I'm not going to get into styles today, but what this does is it gets it back to being normal. So let me put a couple tabs on there just for fun. Oh, it did it without me even doing it. Remember, I put all those tabs up there and it just did it. So it's like, hey, I don't know what I did. It's all icky. Control Q gets, I don't want to say delete, but it resets it back to normal. Some of you are like, well, why don't you just hit normal? Because Control Q does paragraph stuff, not font stuff. So if I had gone in here and I'd gone and done a bunch of stuff to this, right? Colors and bolding and italics and stuff. Okay. I don't want to affect that. Let me do my tabs again, my icky tabs again. Oops. See, I clicked away from the ruler and it went off. Okay. I just, what's wrong with my tabs? Control Q and see how the bolding and the italics and the colors stayed. So font formatting versus paragraph formatting. Yeah. Yeah. You can clear all tabs in WordPerfect. Yeah, you can in Word too. So Control Q though does all of that. If you wanted to, oh, by the way, what it also cleared is this really cool command that I told you before about keep lines together. Uh-oh, it got rid of it, right? So that's part of it. That's everything that's in this paragraph thing. That's Control Q will zap it back to what the normal style is. If it's a heading one, it's not going to go back to the normal. So, but that's a style thing. Okay. Okay. So that's a little bit about tabs. Anything else before we go on to indents? No. Okay. So I want to talk about indents. I'm going to go up in this document and just grab like maybe under funding requirement, these, maybe just this paragraph here. Okay. Why does it wrap on the right-hand side where it says required to persist? Why is the word through on the second line in this paragraph? Well, because there's not enough room on the first paragraph. Why? How? This guy on your ruler, rest my mouse on it, it says right indent. That is, remember using a typewriter. Some of you will remember using a typewriter when you got way over to the right-hand side, it dings and it's time for you to go and go back to the left-hand side. You don't have to do that here. You just keep typing. And when it gets to that right indent, it says, hey, can I fit this next word on in there? Oh, no, there's not enough room. What's the term for that? Word wrap. It's been around for years. Well, if I select just that paragraph and then I drag that indent marker over to the left, that is now saying, now this is where you can only go to. Maybe I want to have a picture or something there. Maybe I'm printing this off and my letterhead is way over on the right hand side and I don't want to overwrite it. I mean, there's a margin setting for that. So I don't know that you would use that too much, but that's how you control that. So this is on the right hand side. Okay. And it only did it to that one paragraph because that's all I had selected. I'm going to go back. Oh, what can I do? Control Q, and it'll go back to the way that it was, not necessarily before, but just the default in the document. Okay. I also have that on the left-hand side. It's much more complex on the left-hand side. Okay. There's a button though. There's two buttons on your home tab. Okay. On your home tab. They're here. Increase indent and decrease indent. And I'm going to click increase, and I want us to watch the indent marker move. It's easier to do it this way. Click, click, click. How far over is it going? Half an inch again. There's that half an inch. And it's kind of doing the same thing that the right indent did. Okay. I don't want it over half an inch, so I just want a little bit. I want that little tick mark right there after the 2, because maybe I'm trying to line it up with something. So this thing, have you guys ever tried to move that thing? It can be annoying. Okay. I'm going to control Q that, make it go back. That's easy. And I want us to play a little bit with each of the 3 parts. So there's the top. Notice mine says first line indent. I'm going to rest my mouse on the second one, and it says hanging indent. So it's kind of like that middle piece. And then I'm going to rest my mouse on the bottom one, and that says left indent. So when you select a paragraph like this, and if you're playing along with me, try to do one that's at least a 3-line paragraph, okay? Or at least 2 lines, but not just one, because it's not going to do anything. So I like this one. It's a 3-line paragraph. So I'm selecting it. I'm going to go up from bottom up, maybe left indent. So make sure that the top of your arrow is on that left indent. And it's basically doing the same thing as that button did, but it's allowing us to drop it just about wherever we want. So if I want it right after the 2-inch mark, but not on the 2-inch mark, I can do that. That works well. Has any of you ever tried to drag that thing and only part of it moves or something like that? Yeah, well, it depends on how you're dragging it. And patience. If you rest your mouse on it and let go, it says left indent, then drag it. So the whole paragraph moves over. That's what we wanted in this case. Okay, so what happens with the other ones? You guys have a chance to try that. What happens with the other ones? If I go to the top one, it says first line indent. What do you think is going to move? And you know what? Just for fun, I'm going to grab, look how I'm selecting things too. I love selecting them on the left-hand side here because it selects that whole, every line in the paragraph. So let me do that again. Way over on the left-hand side, click, drag, click, drag, click. I'm not even clicking, I'm click, drag, 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 drag. And it just knows to grab that, because I see sometimes people are like dragging from the right, like they go from the left to the right, and then they miss something, or they go too far, or they try to do the woo from the bottom right to the top left. It's just a little bit easier. You guys like easy? I like easy. Click and drag straight down. And then sometimes, do I want this one? I don't know if I want it or not, so I'm not going to keep it, right? If I go in front of that one day and type something, do I want it or not? Do I want it like this or not? I don't know, so I'm not even going to do it, right? It's easier to add something onto it, I think, than get rid of something. So I'm going to select that. And if I grab the left indent, it indents all 3 of those paragraphs, actually all 5, because there's a couple of blank ones in there. Okay, I'm going to grab that top one. What do you think is going to move? It says first line indent. Do you think just that superb blend is seeking to continue? Think that's going to do it? You know what? The first line in every paragraph moves. The first line in every paragraph. That's why I wanted more than one paragraph. This is a kind of an old way of indenting things, right? We used to have this all the time, and I still see this. If I pick up a book, a novel or something, and I read it, it often has the first line indented. Okay, people don't know about that. They're hitting spacebar or tab or something. Sometimes when you hit tab, it does this automatically. So you're like, yeah, mine does that automatically. Yep, it might. If you go in front one day and you say, I want to type a new paragraph here, I'm going to hit my tab key. Watch my ruler. Okay, watch my ruler. It's just left. If I hit my tab key, okay, it put a tab in. Geez, when does it do it? Sometimes it does it, and sometimes it doesn't do it. Sometimes when you hit your tab, it'll change your ruler. Call me a liar. Yep, it just did it right before a document I was working on just this morning. It did it. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to control Q those. You'll see that happen. If I do tab now, oh, look at that. Tab did an indent. So it thought that we wanted to move the whole thing over. So sometimes the keys on your keyboard will do things to your ruler without you knowing. And that's sometimes, again, why people get frustrated with Word a little bit. Okay, so that was your first line indent. And then what the heck is that middle one for? Hanging indent. There's two great purposes for this. If I go here and move it over, who's liking that? That looks a little bit funny to me. This is not the greatest use for this, but what it does is it moves everything but the first line over. So this first line indent thing is just staying put. Everything else moves over. So the second line and the third line, in this one, it was the fourth line, everything moves over. When is that handy? Control Q. You know what? Look at your bulleted list above it. Look at your ruler. Select the list above it and look at your ruler. Just look at that ruler. Okay. This is saying that the first line, which is the bullet, is going to line up here. Does that make sense? First line indent. If I drag it, only the bullet is moving. What? You mean I can have that flush left? Yes, you can. You can have those bullets left with the rest of your things. Oh, but now it looks like there's too much space there. What are you going to drag? Well, I have two choices, my hanging indent or my left indent. What does left indent do? Oops, I set a tab by mistake. Left indent moves the whole thing, right? That was what we were doing before. It moves both of those little ticky markers thingies. Technical term. Okay, oops, want to move that over a little bit more. Okay, so how do I decrease the space? I move the hanging indent because the hanging indent is the opposite. So it's almost like a little puppet, isn't it? Yeah, you're saying you move, you stay. No, all of you move. Right? Play with that for a second. Play with that for a second. And often what I'll do then is I'll make this a style because I don't want to have to mess with that every time I want to do that to it. So it works the same with numbered lists. There's a little numbered list here. How can I make this numbered list do the same thing? You know what? I don't mind the space between the number. I was press escape there to get rid of that bar that comes across. I don't mind the space between the 1 and the approximately and the 2 and so on. How can I just move that whole thing over to so that's flush left? Which one do I drag? This guy? I could, but then I'd have to drag this guy because it'll just move the numbers over. Hey, why don't I drag the left indent? Left indent. It kept the space. How cool is that? Good stuff, guys? What do you think? Questions? I've got one more cool thing in regarding hanging indents. And I'm just going to do a before and after here. This is the before. So this is the stuff on the last page. Sorry. I'm just going to do a real quick thing here. How beautiful is that? I'll show you, obviously, I'm going to show you how I did that. How is that? This looks nice. It looks a little bit easier to read. Somebody, maybe this is even a contract or something and people are signing it. That is with a hanging indent. I'm going to select that, double click, gets the whole paragraph. I'm going to control Q that. Okay. I'm going to select John. I'm going to zoom out. So I'm going to control wheel. So many shortcuts. John Smith, drag, 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 just down to there. Okay. Look at my ruler. That makes sense to me that everything, the first line and the second and third and fourth in each paragraph are lined up, right? It's just totally flush left. I want the second line, second, third, fourth in every one. So served and the 2000, it's probably not gonna be 2000 anymore, but the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth line in this paragraph, I want it to go and line up maybe under this 50. Well, notice I also have a tab character in here. So that's going to play a bit of a part here too. So how can I make the name stay, but all the stuff underneath it move? Which one? The middle guy, the hanging indent. Look at this. It goes off onto 2 pages now. That's okay. Look at that. Now, what else moved over? with that, besides the second, third, fourth line in each paragraph. So besides all of this, what else moved over? This one might not have moved a bit, but down here they moved. Let me select that again. Let's move it all the way over to the 2-inch mark, or even the 2.5-inch mark. Then that way we can really see it. So there was one tab in between the names and the ages, and it knew that to move the tab and the other ones. So this hanging indent, when I drag it, it has two purposes. It tells where the tab should be lined up and where all but the first line in the paragraph should go. Does that make sense? Do that again. Control Z, undo. So this is how it was. I'm just going to Control Q that. This is how it was. I'm going to drag the hanging indent all the way over to the 2-inch mark. Why so far? Because look at William Bradley. His name is so long that he couldn't do the 1.5 inch. Look at that, looks funny. Even the Douglas White, that's very, very, very tiny. So I'm going to go over to the 2, oh, maybe even the 2.5 or a little bit more over. That beautiful? Now again, I would consider putting this into a table, but it's in a tab list for now. It's not that much work, right? And it's not breaking the pages properly because I did a Control Q and that took keep lines together off. So now it's like I don't have enough room for William. So I'm going to move William's whole paragraph over there. Will it move back? And it moved my ruler too. If we do this, you're like, how do I make it all on one page? There. Yay. Look at the control you just had. We made that thing fit all on one page because we're doing this to it. If William's name wasn't so long, we'd be able to probably put that over even a little bit further. But pretty tight. Questions there? You guys like that one? Marnie, yay, awesome. Any questions? We got a couple of minutes here. And again, if you want to stay on a couple of minutes after, you can. On my website, knowitsooner.com, I do have a student feedback form. If you want to, talk to me, like give me some feedback on this session. I think there's one in there called word tips. That's what this would be. I do have a spot on here that says online training. And on there, it says recorded courses. So so click here for recorded courses. Again, we do live courses, virtual, in person. We do them all over the place. And I have on there some really good resources. So this is the online courses. And I have some free stuff on there. Here's my recorded ones. First 7 days are free, or first 5 days or something. I don't know if it says right there, but it's got a bunch of courses. Word, Excel are the main ones. I get together on the first Thursday of every month. The format is kind of like this, but people are usually asking a few questions and that. Some of the people that are here today are actually in that course. It's $10 a month, $10 Canadian. Excel recorded ones, weekly nuggets. Go in there. I shouldn't call it weekly because I haven't been good at updating this, but if you have 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, there's a big one in there that's 12 minutes that I really tried hard to make it less than 12 minutes. Watch one of these a day. It will help you out, right? Oh, this is the best one for you guys with in school boards, dynamic math sheet. Oh my gosh, that one I used for my little niece when I was taking care of her for the last couple of years. It's there's nothing really good free on the internet. Free is the main word. This is in Excel, so try that. And yeah, again, if you have questions or anything, please let me know. If you want, I can. Oh, thanks, Donna, for the plug. I've been doing them for a couple of years, and you can ask questions. And I usually do the lunch bites. It's also in the events. I usually ask for suggestions what to do it on. So a day like today would have been lining things up in Word, or hey, let's talk about pivot tables in Excel or something. So you've got that on the events page as well. And group fundamentals classes right from the get-go. So if you know somebody that just needs computer help right from the start and they're good with virtual classes, get them to come on here and look. But hope to see you on the other ones. I am doing this one today again because I gave such short notice with my promo. So if you had somebody that you wanted to invite today and they just couldn't, then I am doing this one again on the 10th. For the free ones, and I don't usually do the recording, although I am recording it today. If you really want it, I can send it to you, but it won't be sent to you automatically. Please try to come to these other ones. Microsoft Teams, it's not just the recording program, it's with channels and sharing, and it's so much more. My colleague Connie is going to do that one. And then OneNote. OneNote is an amazing program that I don't know how I survived without that. Okay. Any questions? I know that people are starting to have to leave, so please promise me that you will practice those things. And if people are going to come to these, then I'll throw a few more of them on just to try to get the word out that we'll do this session or whatever session for your group if you like. Probably not for free, but this is a promo for that. So thanks, you guys. I'm going to stop the recording. If you want to chat, stay on. Stop share. Stop chat. Good. So I'm curious for you guys that are here, what was your